This is the Drake Cutter, another new ship to join us from Drake Interplanetary. And my first impressions of this were, what the hell is this? This doesn't look anything like Drake. It looks like a train from the front. Surely this can't be Drake. What's going on? It's not dripping in weapons, it's chunky, and it's not what I'm used to seeing from Drake when they produce and manufacture ships. However, I was pleasantly surprised when I took this thing out just how much there is to the pilot, and for starter players or new players or even veterans who could use this as a daily driver. Very surprising with the amenities on board this vessel, and I was very surprised that Drake have made such a ship. It's such a stone's throw away from what they normally build, and it's good to see Drake mixing things up and throwing different design aspects into their ship manufacturing. I think that's really cool. Internally, I was impressed. I'm also impressed with the fact that it has VTOL engines, because these will almost certainly become useful in the future. Well, now, navigating severe weather. Maybe you're on a planet with high gravity, all of these things that VTOL offers. It's a good thing to have, I think. So that was a nice addition. I'm also warming to the looks of this, because it does look like a heavy duty starter ship, and it almost certainly looks like a freight train from the front. It has excellent detail. I've been really impressed with the level of detail, obviously being released to gold standard. The engines, I'm pretty sure, are very similar to that found on the Corsair, if not shared, or maybe just downsized. But there are some things on this ship that I was shocked about. For example, just 2 weapons and some missiles, which is completely not Drake. Also, we have armor on this ship, so when armor eventually joins us in the game, this ship, might be able to take a little bit of punishment. So these things were shocking to me. Like I said, 2 size 1 guns on the front, gimbaled. Now normally Drake are like, yeah, guns, just strap guns on everything, that's their whole thing. So it was a complete shock to me that we have this flying freight train with only 2 weapons on it, but we have armor. Not only do we have that, we have VTOL thrusters. So completely different build philosophy from Drake Interplanetary. Now, after flying it for quite some time now, I have to admit this ship has almost certainly grown on me quite a lot, and I think it has gone down relatively well with the community, for good reason. It looks cool. It has one of the largest internal areas of any starter ship, which is going to be useful. So not everybody's into combat, and this ship offers that opportunity. There's enough room on board for cargo running. You can get certain vehicles on there. It comes with a bed, washroom, all of that good stuff that you need to be able to survive out in the wild wilderness of the verse. All of these things are big ticks in my boxes from this ship. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised by just what they've produced here. Designed from the ground up to be tough, versatile and user-friendly, it's the perfect ship for fledgling pilots looking to find just how they fit into this universe of ours. And its flexible frame can tackle multiple roles or specialise in one with equal aplomb. We believe it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, you are an integral part of the Empire, and now with the cutter, you too can reach the stars. So that's a little snippet from Drake themselves. So let's go over some of the features. Cargo, it has 4 SEU of cargo, it has a living quarters, and minimal yet comfortable living quarters lets you take on those longer missions. Weapons, the cutter also has 2 size 2 gun hardpoints, as well as 2 size 2 missile hardpoints, giving you the ability to defend yourself when needed. It has a length of 20 meters, a beam of 16, a height of 6, a combat speed of 160 meters per second, and a max speed of 1050 meters per second, and it weighs in 86,877 kilograms. So as you can see, the interior is very impressive. It does have a deceptive look from the outside. It looks relatively small, but it is very spacious internally. The cockpit is fantastic. Again, I am a big fan of the Drake MFDs. They've copied that design from the Corsair, I think, and shrunk it down a little bit to fit inside the cutter. And it does look good. Very similar, if not the same, in terms of cockpit layout from the Corsair. Here we have the habitation area. You can see it's just very, very spacious compared to other starter ships. Drake really have raised the bar here with starter ships. So I think this ship would be perfect for someone that just wants to get into the verse for the first time and explore it without having to worry about or trying to get into combat straight away. Not everyone's into combat, as I've said. So exploring to some extent, doing basic cargo runs, delivery box missions, maybe a tiny little bit of combat with the lower tier bounty hunting missions. You could almost certainly do bunker missions with this, no problem at all. But this is the shower toilet area here, and it has its own door, nicely lit. The lighting in here is excellent. I didn't find any foibles like I did on the Corsair, so it's all very nice, tidy, neat. Even the paint looks exquisite in here, that olive drab colour, sort of military vibe you get from that paint scheme. I kind of like it. So internally, this ship is by far one of the better ones out of all the starter ships you can select. But I'm very, very happy with how this ship has turned out, and I'm very happy that I got in it, tried it, and then bought one, because, like I said, the outside took me a while to get warm to. But again, the cockpit looks incredible, I think. So once you sort of get over that outside bulky, clumpy look that it has, you quickly learn to love this ship. That's the sort of vibe I've been getting from it, and I'm very, very pleased with how it's turned out. They've done a fantastic job with this. And the price point, $45? That's a hell of a lot of ship for that price. It's, I think, very good value for money, just like the Corsair. Right, let's now talk about the components you'll find on board this ship, the stock components. I haven't changed anything, so let's go through that now. Okay, we'll start with the systems, and we will start with the cooler, which is a blast chill, size 1, grade 4, civilian grade cooling component found on the cutter. I haven't played around with this ship quite enough yet to decide what upgrades I might want to put on it in the future. So at the moment, it's bare bones stock. Power plant we'll move on to next, which is the light blossom, size 1, grade 3, also a civilian class power unit there. Quantum drive is the Foxfire. I will probably swap this for something with more range. I always prefer range all day long. That's a size 1, grade 2. It's actually a competition QT drive, which I found interesting. And then for the shield generator, we have the Hex, size 1, grade 2, also a civilian component protecting the hull. So there are your basic components. Paints, I haven't got any. Vehicle weapons. So we have the MSD 221 missile rack, size 2, grade 1. So it's 2 size 1s. Those size 1 missiles are in fact the Spark 1 missile. It's a cross-section missile. Not really going to put that too much DPS out, these missiles, but better to have them than to not. Weapons, of course, they are gimbaled. At the front of the vessel itself, we have the CF-117 Bulldog repeaters, and they are laser repeaters. They still put out some DPS. I actually quite like the Bulldogs on some ships. I think they're a little bit underrated. So that's the weapon system located on the front of the ship. Okay guys, so what we will do now is begin our tour of the Drake cutter. Once I got over the looks of this, and it does look like a freight train from the front, I'm kind of warming up to it, you know. The more I look at it, the more it grows on me, but it is deceptively narrow in its looks, when in fact it's fairly spacious, so it's quite a little trickster in disguise. I do like all the detail they've managed to squeeze in here. You can see every nut, bolt, light in every nook and cranny. It's fantastic. We have this large VTOL engine, which again is going to have its benefits in helping us with high gravity planets, poor weather conditions, you know, getting off the ground if you've got cargo or vehicles. There are certain vehicles that do fit in the back. We have this other engine that protrudes from the front of the spacecraft itself, and we move around here and we have, I think that's a fueling gauge there. We have these really cool mini winglets hanging off the top, which I like, and a little mini window, which is pretty cool. I have to keep wiping my visor because, you know, Microtech's and moody planets constantly having some sort of storm. As we move around the back, this is when the deception becomes more apparent because it gets thicker and wider. We have 2 entry points. There is only 1 entry point to the back of the ship, I should say. That is the ramp, but we have 2 buttons to access that 1 entry point. Coming around, we get, again, a symmetrical engine layout. I'm not sure what those warning things are for. I would assume it's for fueling. That would be my educated guess. As we keep moving around the front, I'm just going to have to wipe my visor. It is very deceptive. I think it's because the way the cockpit sort of thins out towards the front, the shape of it. So looking at it from the front, it looks fairly slender. We have external pipes showing there leading into that pivot point on the engine, where the engines rotate for the VTOL, and it brings us round to the front. And of course we have that powerful LED light, if it is LED, a fairly square cockpit window there. So I do like the detail on this ship. I think it's really well done. We have a tricycle landing gear as well. So let's go get into the back of this ship. And the ramp opens in a nice timely manner, which is pretty awesome. We don't like slow ramps. Right, let's get in out of the weather. And we'll shut this door, shut the ramp. Like so. Okay, so here we are in the cargo area of the ship. We have a little viewport here, which is a nice touch. It's not something you see too often. And we have various racks, cargo support nets. There's our cargo grid on the floor for the 4 SCU. And to the right we have this really interesting component housing. They sort of plug in and are restrained and kept in place by those metal bars. So I'm going to take my helmet off because I'm fed up of wiping my visor. Yeah, so it appears that these bars hold in the components, which is awesome, and they all function. So that's a very unique thing. That's a feature we don't see too often, is components being held in place by metal bars that open and close. I mean, that's going to be brilliant for engineering. If you are the sole player on board this ship, then swapping components out is going to be a breeze. Look how much space is in here. It's excellent. The space is superb. They've managed to keep that sort of bare bones asset that Drake build their ships with internally. There's no wires that have been covered up or anything like that. It's all really exposed and in your face. But here's the bed. Nothing fancy. We have some storage bins here that don't work, I don't think. We do have our actual storage bin for your personal equipment that works, so we can store stuff in there. I actually thought that was a mini fridge the first time I saw that. But it's nice that we've got a storage bin there for us. I'm not entirely sure if that's some sort of cooking place. Drinks machine, maybe. Very difficult to see. But look, pipes, steel pipes, girders, everything's in here. So it's kept that Drake touch. It's just they've taken their designs to another level. They've gone a different direction. So here's the toilet and shower combo. We have emergency equipment there. And the toilet, I believe, is this under here. You see it's hidden away, but you have to press this button. Oh, there. And look at that. That's pretty cool. Pop that away. That's cool. I like that. It keeps it all very nice and neat. So it's very bizarre to have amenities on a ship of this size for a starter ship. You have access to the lights as well. This is a very good ship. I'm very, very happy. It's definitely a keeper, I think. So that's the habitation area. Let's now move on through to the flight deck, bridge, cockpit area. Weapon rack. I think we can get 2 there. And some more component housing. I'm wondering if we could get delivery boxes stowed away in one of these. It's something I'd like to try. I'm not sure, but that would be nice if we could stow those delivery boxes in one of those areas. That'd be pretty cool. And then we see it's like a 2-step bridge level. The seat takes us up. We rotate round. Boom. Lovely jubbly MFDs. So very similar in terms of the Drake Corsair, even with the keyboards. I did check, there's no random MFD on the floor of this one, but very similar. There's no fan on this one like there was on the Corsair. That appears to be missing, but very similar qualities found on the MFD instrument panel here with that of the Corsair. The visibility is nice. I've always liked Drake MFDs. Everything's at your fingertips, easy to read. No obstructions, no clipping, none of that nonsense. Radar, easily readable. Visibility from the cockpit is absolutely fine. You don't really notice those 2 struts at all. It's very good cockpit. I've got no real complaints in here. So overall, it's a very well built, very well thought out Drake ship. And they've taken it in a different direction, and I hope that we get more ships like this in the future. I'm very pleased with it. We do have this little button here that when we click deploy, these armoured slides appear around the side of the cabin for a bit more, the cockpit, for a bit more protection. So if you do land somewhere hostile, maybe there's pirates or enemy troops or whatever it might be shooting at you, you're not going to get domed by a sniper through the glass, which is a good thing to know. But all the buttons function as you would expect. Released to gold standard, and it's a fantastic ship, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But guys, what do you think of the Drake cutter? I'm always interested to know. Let me know down in the comments. So that's going to wrap up this video for today, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, you know what buttons to press, and I of course will have more Star Citizen content en route to your location very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Cheers.